Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, do you support federal officials threatening hardworking businesses and individuals for following the compliance mandates of legally binding government contracts?
No.
Okay. I assume that it's also safe to say that you don't support lying or asking someone to lie for you as well. Is that true?
It's absolutely true.
Well, I didn't think you did. Please take a look at slide 1. This is a statement of work that the Office of Surface Mining and Reclamation and Enforcement agreed to with the original contractors in your department's efforts to rewrite the 2008 stream buffer zone rule. The highlighted portion shows that the contractors had authorization to ask the coal industry what effect your rewrite of the stream buffer zone rule would have on future coal production. In fact, I draw your attention to the very word in paragraph 7, R, the contractor shall. So it wasn't just an authorization, it was a mandate, a contractual mandate. Slide 2, Mr. Secretary, is an email exchange in which John Cranion, a career OSM employee, authorizes a contact on November 22nd by the contractors with the coal industry to see how the proposed rule would affect future coal production. Finally, in slide 3, the contractors asked on December 15th to verify this contact with the coal industry. As you can see in pink, the presidential appointee, an employee of yours, Joe Pizarchik, violates the agreed upon statement of work and says that no contact is allowed and furthermore threatens extreme consequences if the contractors ask for input from the coal industry. Now, Mr. Secretary, you just confirmed for me a minute ago that you don't support federal officials threatening hardworking businesses for complying with mandates of legally binding contracts. So in your view, is this the way you instruct your employees to run rulemaking procedures, by threatening extreme consequences for following the contract by consultants hired by the government?
Congressman Johnson, I had not seen these emails before this time, but I will say this, that the SBR and this contract have been controversial, and my deputy secretary has been involved in overseeing it, and I would like to respond.
Yeah, I don't want to filibuster here, Mr. Secretary, because we got a lot to cover. You see from this documentation that Mr. Pizarchik threatened extreme consequences to the contractor for following the mandates of the agreed-upon statement of work. Does this mean that you in turn disapprove of Director Pizarchik's handling of this rulemaking process?
You know, I don't know enough about this email in the context of everything else that happened to be able to respond to your question today.
Okay, so when can I expect you to get back to me with your assessment? Because this is an egregious situation here. It has tremendous impacts, not only on my district, but the coal industry across this nation.
Congressman Johnson, I will take a look at the emails and we will provide a response.
Well, it's clear to me that the extreme consequences that Mr. Pizarchik referred to were the termination of the contract when he didn't like the answers that he was getting, and forcing the American taxpayers to pay the contractors in full for simply doing their job. This cost the American taxpayers millions of dollars, and this to me and the American taxpayer is simply unacceptable. Mr. Secretary, you already said that you don't think it's okay to lie or have someone lie for you. Now, either you weren't being totally honest with me when you said that, or you don't enforce these principles within your own department, because in November, this committee heard testimony from OSM's contractors that they were asked to lie to soften the blow of the job losses that your new stream buffer zone rule will have on the nation. So let me ask you this. Did you, anyone from your office, the White House, or anyone else in a position of authority at the department direct OSM employees to ask the contractors to change assumptions on the economic analysis to address the job numbers in the draft economic analysis?
No.
They did not? That's your testimony? You know that for certain?
I know that I did not, and I have no knowledge that the White House or anybody else would have.
Okay. So that means that Director Pizarchik or someone else at OSM asked the contractors to lie and change the baseline coal production level to show fewer job losses, and that you or no one else was involved. Is that your testimony here today?
Congressman Johnson, I know there were problems with the contract. And
no, I'm asking you a very specific question. Mr. Pizarchik said there would be extreme consequences. So he issued that direction to the contractor. And you're saying that you or no one else in your department was involved or at the White House was involved in that. Is that your testimony here today?
I know that I was not
Yes or no,
involved.
Mr. Secretary? I'm out of time.
Your question requires me to say I had no knowledge of this, and I do not believe that anybody in the White House did, nor do I believe that anybody in my senior management did. So
Okay.
we'll get back to you with a response to your question in the context of other information that may be associated with it.
I'm out of time.
Time of the gentleman has expired, and this is certainly is an issue that should be followed up on.